Good evening, ma'am.
Uh,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I'm actually traveling right now. So my connection will be on and off.
No problem. Feel free. Absolutely no worries.
Thank you so very much for joining us today. This is certainly a privilege to our university. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Very, very happy.
Wonderful, ma'am. We'll start exactly at 5. And as mentioned, like it is going to be live on social media. So we can always get back to your talk and listen to it. And our students will also get benefited out of it.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yes.
Ayushi, you can start at 5 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. I think we can then start now.
Yep, go ahead. Start.
Just a moment. Okay, so a very good evening, everyone. So as we already know that today is World Mental Health Day. So 10th of October every year is observed as Mental Health Day to raise awareness specifically of mental health issues around the world. And on the account of the same, our university has organized this 3-day awareness series on mental health. So I welcome you all to the day 3 of the series. At the very onset of it, I would like to thank Dr. Vasuprada ma'am, who has consented to do this webinar with us on an amazing topic of mental health for 360-degree success. Now, I believe that everyone present here on this platform, and the ones watching it live, wish to be successful in life, right? But we should also understand that in order to do so, we need to take care of our emotional, social, and physical well-being, which is interconnected and is majorly determined by our mental health. So this session would certainly help us understand the nuances of mental health to ensure our well-being and success later in life. So before I hand over the platform to ma'am, I would like to introduce her to you all. Dr. Vasuprada Karthik holds a double master's in counseling and psychotherapy with a diploma in special education and PhD in holistic psychotherapy using complementary and alternative tools. She works as a psychotherapist in a private practice, and she's also a trainer and a live television counselor. She's a board member of IFAPA, which is International Federation of Anthroposophic Psychotherapy Associations UK. She brings with her a rich experience of having contributed in the mental health industry by associating with several prestigious organizations and leading impactful projects. So I would like everybody to request everybody to first listen to the webinar, and you have any questions, we have kept a separate time for taking up the questions. You can feel free to ask the question towards the end of the session. So on the behalf of the SRM, all students, all the participants here, I would like to thank you, ma'am, for joining us. The virtual platform is all yours.
Thank you, Ayushi, and I thank SRM University for having me here today. Yes, mental health is very close to my heart. And today being the World Mental Health Day, well, it's a green ribbon day. So that's why you see me in green today. And yes, young people, I think, are the investment. It's like you are the future. So I'm very happy to be speaking to the young people. You need to preserve yourself. You need to be able to reach your 100% of your potential. And that's the reason we're actually talking about it today. And one of the other things that I would like to also maybe bring to awareness is how many kind of myths that surround mental health. I'm sure the other facilitators would have already done so, because I know that they spoke about moods, they spoke about stress. Yes, but we also, I think, as a clinician, because I've been a clinician for many years, and what we actually see, I will just start with an example that happened today, just this morning when I was working with someone. Somebody has come to me and apparently this person has been having the same problem past 26 years. So somebody is reaching out for help after 26 years of suffering. And that is something which is a no at all. I think we all need to. So I would just like to start with a simple, can I have a share screen, Ishi? Yep.
Yes, I think, ma'am, you can share the screen now.
Okay, thank you.
Done.
I'm just doing this. Yes. So I hope you're all able to see this screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. So what we'd like to just possibly just start with is a simple thing that we'll do. We'll just go over, as I said, yes, you wouldn't ignore something like a bad stomach pain or maybe even a simple thing like a sprained ankle or a bruise. But why do we always ignore our mental health? Because maybe something is stopping us. Maybe it is our own attitude, or maybe is it the attitude of the people around us. And that is something that we need to always think about, because our mind is equally important, if not more. And that's something that we need to explore further, because mental health is what makes people. There was once this thing where we would say we are what we eat, but yes, we are also what we think and what we feel. So it's about our mental health that keeps us going in this world. So if you just close your eyes right now, I would really want you to close your eyes and quickly maybe think of 4 random people, just 4 people who come to your mind quickly. And what is shocking at this juncture is that the latest statistics suggest that 1 in the 4 maybe is experiencing a mental health concern. Given, yeah, so it's there. So we're talking about the high prevalence of mental health issues. So in this context, maybe what I would like to also bring is, these days, we have this strange thing, you know, maybe young people especially, I hear a lot, and that's a reason maybe I should bring it here as a context. Young people have this habit of saying, hey, I'm so depressed. Okay. And then they're, oh, I'm so filled with anxiety. Or it's like, oh, this person has OCD. So we hear so many of these mental health terminology being churned out, and they're everywhere. Now, what is the truth is up to us. It's important to know the difference. I'm sure you would have gone through this before, but maybe today we still need to just see. We just need to recognize some of the signs. Sorry, there seems to be a bit of a lag here. Just a moment. Yeah. There is a lag. Okay, so I'll work through the lag part. I'll just continue to speak. So what is important is how much we understand of the signs and the symptoms of a real mental health issue, because we are not interested in making those who need the help not receive it. So those who are, those of you who may be experiencing a change in appetite, maybe there's a lot of sleeplessness or sleeping too much, there's anxiety, repetitive thinking, low moods, hopelessness, panic, lack of concentration, focus, and uncharacteristic changes in personality, sometimes being overreactive or losing temper. Now, these may seem very common because, yes, we experience, yes, we do experience sleeplessness when you have maybe something on your mind during exams. This is something that also happens a lot in student population, especially during examinations. So when you take away context, so what is important for us is also to remember that, is there a reason for these things to happen, or is it something that is coming just like that? So this is something we need to definitely know as a variation, as a difference. So if you have a reason enough, maybe you do have something to little worry about. And yes, yesterday you got some clues as to how to handle your stress and maybe to recognize your mood changes. But then if there is a reason enough behind it, yes, we will work towards it. But sometimes the actual mental health issue could be that there may not be much reason, but we still feel all this. Now, one thing that I would like to definitely, yes, speak about is maybe addictions, because this is something which we all see it every place. We know that addictions are on the rise. Maybe some other day I'll come back and speak to you about the whole context of addictions and how it affects mental health. But yes, we will just take a peep into it even right now and talk about addictions in terms of the simple things. Are you just addicted to your phone, which I think most of us are these days? So is phone as important? Is the mobile so important as the rest of the world, or is it more important? And the next one, of course, is, are you also trying some of the things like, maybe alcohol or other things? So please don't don't now think that, oh my God, what is this question? Am I a person? I'm never going to do it. No, we're not saying that. We are talking about how to be at your best performance under stress or otherwise. But then addictions have crept into our lives, because I'm sure you have seen the latest news. And yes, some celebrities are associated with why there have been increased use of alcohol, drugs, and everything. So why are we thinking that we should not be talking about it? And that is something we will just keep at the back of our minds, that addictions also happen as a part of some of the mental health problems. That you are prone to do certain things because of predisposition, and sometimes because there is an addiction, it is likely that you exhibit the signs of a mental health problem. So this is all some things that you've seen earlier. You would know about it as the stress related thing and the anxiety, all these things that are coming back, flashbacks of painful events, possibly all of us experience, but we still need to work with it. Yes, fear and shame. This is another thing that happens, especially in the context of examinations, in the context of performance everywhere. So as long as we believe that we are supposed to be performing at the top level, which is it really according to the reality, or is it keeping in mind my abilities? So this is something that we will again come back to. So maybe this is something that we will just look at. I want all of you to just think. So extroverts who are active and smiling cannot be going through depression. This is one of the things that we can think about. And in a group, a person's moods and emotions are not influenced by others. Mental health skills in seminars are useful only to individuals who are planning to work in corporate companies. Now, this is something which is a very, strangely, a very new age issue. So they would like to focus on it because, yes, you want to be a global citizen, you want to be working for a multinational, then yes, then we need to be in a good mental state. But if it is not, then it doesn't matter. So we'll just have to see about. And then there is only one solution to dealing with stress. This is another thing which we can go on talking possibly the whole day. And willpower, mostly for me, that really matters to me at this juncture is willpower is enough to get through anxiety, depression, or any other mental health experience. This is the most common thing that we have as maybe as a very strong belief in our socio-cultural ecosystem, because everybody says, hey, you're not strong enough to overcome this. It's okay. No, be strong and you'll overcome it. But yes, that is something we have to think about. It is not always that anxiety, depression, or any mental health experience, it's not just about the willpower. It's about many other components that will add to it, and mainly getting the right help, professional help, that will help you overcome any of the things like anxiety or depression. We cannot just say, it's okay, it'll just go away. It's not a cold, it's not a restricted viral infection that it goes away on its own. It needs help. Yes. So whatever that we thought about, all of them were false. So if you understand, depression can easily be masked and expressed in many different ways. And yes, people or events around us affect our moods. Resilience and mental health is important for people of all ages and occupations. So don't think it is restricted to only one specific group, one specific person, or whatever is the thing. And then, yes, you have, maybe you would have heard how many are the available options to work with stress. We all know the difference, I'm sure by now, that what is the difference between distress and eustress. So eustress is something that gives you a little bit of nice stress so that you are actually getting more functional, maybe more organized. But yes, understanding really what is affecting the functionality. So let's not ever forget that functionality is the problem that we are looking at. And victimization, the only reason we're talking about why willpower and these concepts have to be broken is because shame, blame, sometimes people shame somebody who says, I'm feeling depressed, I don't feel like doing it. Don't shame them. And yes, blaming that, oh, this one wants attention all the time. So there are always reasons as to why these things are coming up. There are multiple reasons. You would have heard all this before, but I'm still just coming on these things because we said a 360 degree. And in that, I think essentially we can just simply start with, what are we born with? That we know we bring certain things along with us. Are we predisposed? These days, everybody who's in the, little bit clued in will say, hey, cancer is genetic, right? So these are the things that the same way we understand a physical illness, let us also give the same respect to something that is affecting our minds. So that is something we need to look at and see, yes, how am I treating my body? And what are my biological components that make me who I am? And what are the things that are likely to affect it? So my age, my fitness. So is it that I have developed bad habits in terms of, yes, I have become very lazy and I don't want to do something. Now, I'm not ever bringing this as a mental health context, but I'm just saying about habits. So if a certain habit comes in, you know that, yes, obesity is related with so many medical ailments. At the same time, you also know that exercise, working with your body, exercising properly, all these things keep your mind and body in the perfectly balanced way. Now, as for the other things like simple self-esteem, we say, hey, what is this person thinking about his or her own self? And then the basic coping skills. Do you have the necessary coping skills to go through everyday life? Because life is not the same for all of us. It brings something new. It throws something into, challenges at us at all times. So do we have the coping skills, like saying that it is okay, it's all right? Today is, just interesting thing about younger generation now is that, yes, you are very curious, you want to learn many things, which is a very good thing. Also, yes, just take into account and take into cognizance that you don't necessarily have to be just like the next person. Your coping skills could be different. And it's always good to think futuristic. You need to think about tomorrow. Let us not be dragged down or bogged down by what is coming from the past. I may have had quite a few experiences, maybe enough, bad experiences sometimes, and sometimes there could be a trauma. All these things that are there behind me, the reason we say in the past, it's behind us, it's behind. So we are supposed to look ahead into the future. As long as we keep turning back and keep looking at the past, it weighs us down, it drags us down. So what are the things that are going to make us more futuristic? Because you are the young people, you need to be more futuristic. So it's all about, yes, also the things of maintaining social relationships. How are we managing with all those? When we talk about social relationships, I'm sure all of you are thinking about everything else under the sun, excepting maybe the first social unit, which is a family. So how are your relationships with your relationship with your own family members? These days, I know that there's a lot of stress, lot of, I would say, dissonance going on in the whole concept of the intergenerational relationship. So parents, children, and sometimes siblings, and of course the extended family, whatever that may come in. So it's all about the power, authority, the struggle between all this. And yes, co-workers, peers, media. So now this is another thing that I would say is a very important factor for all of you to take into consideration, that media is the elephant in the room. We have to accept it is right in front of us. It's an issue. So what is it that we choose to take in? Media, you cannot escape it. Media is in front of us all the time. But then sometimes we pick things that are going to aggravate what I'm feeling. So if I have anger, it's very possible I'm picking things that are going to increase my anger. And if I'm feeling sad, it's very possible that we pick things that are further making me sad. So these are the things that I want you to think about, because self-awareness is the root. That is how we improve ourselves. That's how we equip ourselves. We become stronger. Only if I know myself, right? So this is another thing that I would like you to think about. Yes, I'm very sure a lot of people would have spoken already. Speakers already earlier would have spoken, and I'm sure there's a lot of discussion going on. So what is this lifestyle balancing? What are we even talking about? It's all about, yes, the age, the environment that you're in, and what are you doing there? And yes, are you so focused on your studies or your academic achievements that you are forgetting to take care of yourself? Or sometimes we are so busy partying. A lot of youngsters do, I know. Maybe we were tried when we were younger. No, is it partying more important? Is just hanging around with your friends, hanging out with friends more important than maybe academic achievement? Or is a relationship bogging you so much, bogging you down so much that you're focusing only on a relationship? Now, this is one important thing I want all of you to think, because you're young people, and yes, relationship is an important part of your life. And when I say relationship, it is about not just the family, not just the friends. Yes, you also have the main important relationship, which you would start focusing on a lot at your age. That is, maybe you love somebody, maybe you are infatuated with somebody, maybe you have a crush on somebody. But yes, these become, sometimes they have the power to take over your life, and they are the root for a lot of other things that follow. Because when we said earlier about losing appetite, every single thing that we talked about, how they're going to affect. So how often have you heard your friends say that, they're feeling so miserable because they had a breakup, and they're not going to concentrate on their classes, they don't feel like attending them. So what are we doing? We are somehow allowing one single thing to tilt the balance. So the lifestyle or what we choose as our life around us somehow is getting more tilted in one way. So it's a choice that we have to make. What other choices are you making? Right? Now, this is another thing. How often have all of you have experienced as young students preparing for your exams, doing something that, yes, oh my God, the first thing I think everybody hears in the house is, I don't have any time. You tell something to a young child, a university student or a research scholar, and the first thing we always hear is, we don't have time. We are so busy doing so many things. So please, time, as we know, one of the very famous dialogues, I think Amitabh Bachchan's dialogue, which says that, वक्त मिलता नहीं निकाला जाता है. So yes, we need to make time. We need to make time for things that matter to us. And you should essentially matter to yourself. So please take time out to take care of yourself. And when we say take care of yourself, it is the body, mind, soul, spirit, all the levels. And then, of course, what needs to be done. So prioritizing. If I had a time matrix, maybe some other time I can do, how these important and urgent things, and how you identify that always the top priority is the bracket, the square that says urgent and important. So those are the things that we need to identify. But invariably, we all make these choices wherein we choose things which possibly are not urgent and are also not important. So time management, dear friends, is important because this causes you more stress than anything else. And when we don't achieve our goals, we end up feeling bad. And we are talking today about success, how to maintain your mental health in such a way that you are 360-degree successful. So all segments of your life, whether it is personal, social, professional, everywhere, you have to take care of yourself. And yes, so this is another thing that you need to do. We all have goals. Whatever are the goals, please break them down into small baby steps. Whatever that you want to do, take them into achievable tasks. Anything that can be achieved, so that you carry that sense of success, you carry that sense of achievement and say, wow, I've done this. But this is one thing we always fail to do, wherein, you don't pat yourself on your back. You need to acknowledge that, yes, I have done something, I've done well, and this is brilliant. I am actually able to do. But then that happens only when you break things down into small baby steps, the achievable baby steps. And I think that matters a lot. This is something I would like to maybe stress upon again, because when we are talking about maintenance of mental health, maintaining yourself, what really, really always matters is, remember, man is a social animal. We were not meant to be alone. So some practices of ours, which have become a lifestyle habit, is that, yes, I take my mobile away and I sit in my room, close the door. And this is what happens many times. So when I speak a lot with parents, they always say, I don't know what happens inside my child's mind, because they're busy working. I don't know, their room is closed and you don't know what they're doing. Yes, what you're doing, either you're on laptop or you're on mobile, I'm sure for good reasons or otherwise reasons, but then it is taking you away from people. And throughout our lifetimes, what we need is the social connection that keeps us going through our stressful times. So one of the greatest thing, one of the bigger lessons that we learned through pandemic, I'm very sure, is that when there is a huge challenge which has come as a common challenge for all of us, we realize that because we are together, we are able to manage it better. But the ones who isolated themselves developed more and more mental health problems, because there was a huge increase in mental health issues, primarily because people started isolating themselves. It's a different story that there was social distancing, but then most of the people also had somebody living with them in the house. So we're not building these relationships. And then, yes, we also have the technology with us to be used in the right way. So we can always connect with people. Like for today, I mean, right now, what I'm experiencing is that I'm connecting with you. I'm feeling so grateful. I'm so happy that I'm able to connect with you all and speak about something which is close to my heart. So this is something we need to do. Speak up. Speak about things that bother you. Speak about things that are concerning you. I'm sure there is support everywhere. We carry in our minds lot of inhibitions. We always assume the other person will not understand. We always assume that somebody else is not going to be supportive enough. Let's remember that let us try, reach out, let us ask for help, or let us just say, I have this vision for myself. In fact, most of the success stories in this world is about people who communicated that they have a dream for themselves, that they have a vision for themselves. And strangely, yes, people do cooperate. So this is something we should always remember, that it's not just about stressful times, but I would actually say that at all times, we need to have social connections. And one of the other things that I tell you, again, when we are talking about the full development, a complete development as a holistic person, one thing that needs to happen, especially at your young age, all the people who are, for me, yes, let me again reiterate, for me, life begins at 40. So you are still very young till you reach that age. You're just building a foundation. And in that, yes, what matters is community. So please make yourself a part of a community. Let us not think that we are different or we're too busy to give a helping hand. So one of the things that has helped a lot when I'm working with people, with anyone, my clients who have depression, anxiety, especially, self-worth issues and going through whatever are the troubled times, sometimes many environmental issues, even things that, events that have troubled them, they've all come out because I always say, you have come to me is fine. We all work together. But then there could be many others out there who just need one person to talk to them, one smile that can reach them. So please use this. Use anytime you're feeling little upset or unhappy. Go out into the world and speak to the people who need your help, or somebody who just needs a human smile, a human touch. So community work or voluntary work is extremely therapeutic, and it gives you great strength of character. It really builds you, it builds your immunity, I would say. Just like, taking vitamins and supplements for your physical health. I think having these wonderful social connections will build your mental health immensely. So please do that. I think that's very important for all of us. Now, this is another thing that we have to, this is another myth I want you to break right now. You don't have to be perfect. Who said there is anything called perfection? Whatever that we have, we are perfect in our way, because you are the only unique person in this entire world. So remember that your DNA will not really be there anywhere else in this world. It's just you. So this is the mold that you have come up with. and you can make it very successful. You can be the perfect mold for a beautiful, successful life. So I just want you to just read this. So we all know what is Forbes list, and in that's the leadership qualities. It says honesty, ability to delegate, wonderful communication, sense of humor, confidence, commitment, positive attitude, creativity, intuition, ability to inspire. So all these things are given, but what is important is that is relevant of what is happening as a certain kind of a backdrop. Maybe I'm fighting my inner battle with a particular mental health problem, but then I can all be this. I can have all these wonderful qualities with me, irrelevant of that. So if we really go and identify and look at the biographies of people, there's extraordinarily successful people or people who have done brilliant things. We see that somewhere there has been a backdrop of this, but they have still reached a wonderful, successful level. So don't build a boundary around yourself. Don't build a wall around yourself saying that, yes, I have this so-called a certain kind of a mental, psychological issue. So I actually not fit to be doing something. No, you can take help for that, but then these are your individual qualities that you can develop. So leadership qualities are one part of it. Yes, and sense of humor. We know that laughter is the best medicine. So try and find as much humor in your situation as possible, because there are times, and I can tell you, as a clinician, there are many, many times I crack many jokes on myself. It's very useful because people see that, yes, I mean, this person also makes mistakes. It's good. So when we make mistakes or when we do something wrong or something goes wrong, we usually take it very seriously. Anything going wrong is taken so seriously that you want to burden yourself. But then what I would like to tell you is that mistakes happen. We are human beings. So it is called, as Shakespearean expression, which says that human follies and foibles. So we make these mistakes. It's a part of our constitution, but it's okay. So the smart person knows and learns from mistakes and will not get burdened by it. They can crack jokes about it, they learn from it and grow well. So this is one thing I'm still telling you, that it's beautiful to have this positive attitude and then use all your creativity. I'm sure everybody has a huge load of talent within you. When we are burdened by something, we forget our own talents. Maybe somebody writes beautifully. Maybe actually somebody has a very musical talent. And then we forget about it. And that is something which I feel that, we need to never forget. We should never forget it. We have our own beautiful qualities and we should always make good use of them. So you don't have to be in this perfect mold. You have to remember that you have all these so-called normal qualities which make you into these beautiful leaders. Remember that the ones who suffered through many life challenges, many health challenges, and maybe many financial challenges actually develop into extremely strong individuals, that they are able to come out of it by having taken a little bit of help, maybe being aware of the world around. So one thing that I will always tell you again and again is be in touch with the world around. It's not just a couple of friends. It's not just about a couple of ideas that you have. The world is a huge place and world is a good place. So there are many useful things that we can learn every single day. Remember that it is an in and out process. So we take in beautiful things, we also give out some things. And then in between all these, we also have to have our own personal filters. So these filters are useful because I refuse to take in anything that is coming to me as too much negativity. And then, yes, I also do not want to unnecessarily give my negative emotions to somebody else or some situation. These are actually the ability, when you say ability to inspire, is yes, when somebody is doing some useful work, you say, hey, wow, this person is doing this. And I have seen many, many times that with a little bit of help, these so-called psychological disorders or something that is troubling a person actually does not stop them from doing many, many beautiful things. And they grow into extraordinary human beings and as successful leaders in whatever profession that they choose. Yeah. So how are we with the time? So this is one of the quick things that I would like to just cover. So don't get into this burnout situation, and also prioritize relationships. In Aishi, are we okay with the time?
Yes, ma'am. I think we have a couple, like 10 minutes to that we can use. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. If somebody is putting in any questions, maybe we can just look at them later. So taking time out for yourself is the best thing that we can do. Don't forget that exercise and your physical health is the one. It is your physical body is the instrument that we need to use to be something in this world. If I don't take care of my instrument, so I will ask a simple question. Can I cut a tree down? That's a bad example, I suppose. But yes, if I want to chop something, if my knife is not sharp or it is not of a great quality, can I even cut anything at all? Even to cut vegetables, I need to sharpen my knife. So just think about it. It's all about how we need to take care of ourselves, because you are the instrument that you use in order to be something in this world. So physical health is equally important along with your mental health. And these two are interconnected, because you would have heard of things like psychosomatic uh, disorders. So psychosomatic disorders are nothing where people think that, it's all there in the mind. No, anything on the mind can affect the body. So we are looking at it both ways. Somatopsychic, that is, if my health is not okay, physical health, it may affect how I'm feeling mentally. And because during COVID times, that is something we have seen very much. When somebody suffered with COVID, actually they went through a huge mental crisis, psychological crisis as well. And many other, chronic ailments or sometimes acute things do that. But apart from that, if I'm continuously in a state of stress or not really working with my traumas or my bad experiences, they all get somatized. So they just go into the body. The reason I'm talking about it is because it has been my passion to do a lot of work with psychosomatics. And recently I've presented about this in a world conference about how trauma and bad experiences affect your body. So it's so important to take help and to not get into that state of trauma that it is likely to affect our bodies, right? Now, I think the simple thing that I would just maybe end it with is, do not judge yourselves, because we always are very harsh with ourselves. We say, oh, I'm lazy, I'm this, why can't I do better? These are things that I hear a lot from younger groups, wherein, why can't I be like this? Including, of course, one of the things that comes to me straight away when I'm talking about judging yourself is about, yes, I think the concept of beauty, the concept of good looks. Now, this is something which has become a huge issue for younger people, because the amount of eating disorders that have developed over the past maybe a couple of decades is unbelievable. The past 1 decade has been quite high. And why is that happening? Because everybody wants to fit into this mold of how they look. And that causes a disorder. And your mind is not going to be so great after that. And your body, which is your instrument in this world, your body and mind are a perfectly aligned instrument to make things happen in this world. But then you start having problems because we carry wrong perceptions about one's own self. And of course, do not ever be afraid to reach out. You have to reach out to people. You can be organized, and yes, exercise and sleep rhythm. Now, one thing that I still again would like to say is it has become maybe a bit fashionable to say I'm a night owl, that I like to work, I'm very nocturnal. So people say I stay up in the night. And yes, it affects the body because we were not built to work in the nights. We were supposed to follow this circadian rhythm, was about sunlight, and we are aligned pretty much with it. So it does cause disturbance. It does make you get into this habit of, sleeplessness. So sleep disorders set in, then appetite issues come, sometimes eating disorders come. It's all about what choices we are making, because in order to achieve success, we are actually destroying ourselves. So be very careful about the choices that you're making. And yes, when you take a break, when I'm talking about a break, please don't. I know a lot of youngsters who work, who are studying. For them, the break is possibly just to go and pick up one smoke. We will talk about it later, but we all know what all it does. So, yes, I can stop the share, but I'm just ending it right now. So what I'm just saying right now is that treat yourself with more love, treat yourself with more caution, and take care of yourself with more commitment. So it's the body and mind synchrony that needs to be always present. We cannot just say that I will just do one thing and forget about the rest. I know many people who hit the gym, who are working out, but yes, they have never reached out for their own psychological issues. So we have a big gap in that segment as well, wherein you're just being very one-sided and very tilted. So nowhere is it okay to be one-sided and tilted. We need to be very balanced. Every single thing that we do, remember that it's like always carry the scales in your mind and say, is this okay? Is it getting balanced? So when we say weigh the pros and cons, I would say look at every option in the same way. So I'm just doing something interesting. So the influences that come to us are also that way. So just be more loving to yourself. So I would like to also tell you that these days, one of the greatest things that's happening is finally we talk a lot about being kind to yourself. So I want every one of you to be very kind to yourself in terms of how you design your life, because every one of you has the potential to be your best. And I'm sure you'll be the best in the world as well. Just give it the time and the space it requires, and I'm sure it'll be just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a very informative, insightful session that we have. So I think now we can take a couple of questions that student might have, if there are any. So students or any participant who would like to ask question regarding to what we have discussed today, or anything in general about mental health, can type in their questions in the chat box. Or if you're comfortable, you can also unmute yourself and ask your questions directly with the speaker. I think we don't have any questions as of now. I'm sure because it's a weekend. So I'm sure
Yeah,
that.
I think there is one question which is saying that
Okay.
is it normal to lose interest in everything we used to like before? Okay, so I would not want to say the name, but yes, this is something that requires to be looked at, because we're not really supposed to lose interest in everything that we liked before. So it's always good to reach out for there could be reasons. Okay, one is that there could have been events or whether physical, mental, environmental, whatever are the reasons that could have also caused this, but it is a change. So anything that has become a drastic change, sorry about that. So when we are talking about a sudden change, I think it is very important to look at it, why it has occurred. So please do seek help. We are all here, all of us who are there to help you guys. So please reach out to any one of us to just talk about it. We are not saying there is a problem, but I think talking about it is useful. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Student, if we have any other questions, please feel free to write in the chat box. If you feel that you would not to write it, like you would not want to unmute yourself and ask it in front of everyone, you can anonymously just you can just send it directly to the speaker, to the ma'am, and she will not take your name and will answer your query. I'm sure. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Not that I see anything here, Aishi.
Okay.
But yes, I'm sure that if anything comes up, we're always here, because it's all about relating to how much you are connected with yourself and how much you are aware of your own feelings. Because so many times we go through this process of denial, we don't want to know also, or we try to cover it up. And these are things that maybe sometimes the people around will point out. And it's always good to take this in an open way. If somebody is telling, sometimes people around will say, hey, there's a change in you, this is happening. So see who it is, because only good friends and somebody who's concerned will give you the right kind of input. So be careful. I mean, be aware as to who's giving the input and respond accordingly. And it's always good to speak about it, talk about it, take the right kind of help. It's always useful to do it. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all for your time in attending the webinar. With that, we come to an end. I would also like to say, it's not just the 10th of October that we should talk about mental health. Please make sure that each day of 365 days, you make your mental health a priority. That's how you make the difference in life and in the field, of course, that we are talking about, that we want to spread awareness for. So on behalf of all the students, Ms. Revati ma'am and myself, NSR ma'am, we would really like to thank you again. It was a delight. It was we were very delighted to and honored to attend this session by you. And thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Aisha, and thank you, Ms. Ramchandran. Yes, Balakrishna, I think so. Revati ma'am and everybody else who has been kind enough to have me here. It's always a pleasure to reach out to the young minds, because yes, that's where all the potential lies. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.